I extend greetings to all attending our summer commencement ceremony. Today, Des Moines University will award degrees in the Healthcare Administration and Public Health programs of the College of Health Sciences, and to graduates in Anatomy and the Biomedical Sciences of the College of Osteopathic Medicine. Will the audience please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. I'm now pleased to welcome our president, Dr. Angela Walker Franklin, who is presiding at our ceremony today. Dr. Franklin.
Good afternoon. Members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, graduates, guests. Welcome to the 2013 Summer Commencement Ceremony for Des Moines University. This is an exciting day when our students fulfill the promise that began with their acceptance to Des Moines University and culminates with the awarding of the graduate degree. Graduates, congratulations to each of you for completing your rigorous course of study. While one can barely imagine the changes that will become part of the health science and healthcare landscape in the next 10 to 25 years, you are superbly prepared with outstanding training and a commitment to lifelong learning. This is also a day of celebration for all associated with Des Moines University. Throughout its history, this institution has conferred more than 15,000 degrees to improve the art and the science of medical care, as well as the leadership and the management of the healthcare industry. Graduations would not occur were it not for the dedicated efforts of our faculty, scholars, advisors, and mentors who have contributed immensely to your education and to the enhancement of the professions you represent. They have demanded a great effort from you, but from that effort you have accomplished an educational milestone that is achieved by a select few. Faculty, will you please stand and be recognized? You may be seated. We're also joined by a few of the members of our Board of Trustees who have wisely governed the course of Des Moines University and ensured that our historic mission has been preserved and strengthened to the measure of preeminence we enjoy today. So members of our Board of Trustees in the audience, please stand. I know I saw one back there. Thank you, Dr. Beck. It is now my privilege to introduce our commencement speaker, Dr. Kenneth Quinn. Dr. Quinn, former U.S. Ambassador to the Kingdom of Cambodia, assumed the leadership of the World Food Prize Foundation on January 1, 2000, following his retirement from the State Department after a 32-year career in the Foreign Service. Inspired by the vision of Dr. Norman E. Borlaug, Ambassador Quinn has endeavored to build the $250,000 World Food Prize Award into the Nobel Prize for Food and Agriculture. Held each October in Des Moines, the World Food Prize Laureate Award Ceremony, Borlaug Dialogue, International Symposium, and Global Youth Institute has grown in size and stature under his direction. Ambassador Quinn has led the campaign, which successfully raised $29.8 million to transform the historic Des Moines Public Library into the World Food Prize Dr. Norman E. Borlaug Hall of Laureates. During his diplomatic career, Ambassador Quinn served as a rural development advisor in the Mekong Delta, on the National Security Council at the White House, for 4 years as chairman of the U.S. Interagency Task Force on POW MIAs, and as a director of Iowa Shares, the humanitarian campaign that sent Iowa doctors, nurses, medical supplies, and food to starving Cambodian refugees. Ambassador Quinn emerged from these experiences as one of the U.S. government's foremost experts on Indochina. He wrote his doctoral dissertation on the origins of the radical Pol Pot regime and is widely acknowledged as the first person anywhere to report in 1974 on the genocidal policies of the Khmer Rouge. 20 years later, while serving as Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, Ambassador Quinn developed a plan on agricultural enhancements and rural roads that led to the final eradication of Khmer Rouge. Ambassador Quinn, a graduate of Loras College here in Iowa and Dubuque, has a Master of Arts degree in Political Science from Marquette University and a PhD in International Relations from the University of Maryland. Please join me in welcoming Ambassador Quinn as he delivers today's commencement address. Ambassador Quinn.
So, Dr. Franklin, thank you so very much for your very kind introduction. It's really a special honor to be the commencement speaker. You know, I have a couple of connections with Des Moines University. I'm Dr. Shah, Yogesh Shah, my good friend, appointed me as an adjunct member of the faculty, an honor that I treasure. And I'm also a patient and come to the clinic and been a patient for a long time. And so when Dr. Franklin called my office and my assistant said, Dr. Franklin from Des Moines University is on the phone, I'm wondering, what's this about? So I thought, you know, there's what to say. I got to be ready. And is it something to do with my faculty position? Yeah, probably not. You know, did I remember to pay the bill from my last treatment with Dr. Koch? So I picked up the phone, kind of worried. You know, how I was saying, listen, I'll mail the check in, I promise. But she was calling to invite me to today to be the speaker. So if I do owe any money, though, I will take care of it, I promise. So it's really nice to be back on the campus. This is a transformed institution, and I want to say congratulations to all of you graduates. I worked hard to get my master's degree. I can imagine how hard you worked. And to be here to congratulate you is special privilege. So this campus is so transformed when the first time I walked onto it in 1978. And I came as someone who was looking for that medical miracle. And I was going into the old St. Joseph's Academy. I don't know if you know that. This used to be St. Joseph's Academy Catholic Girls School. Going into one of the buildings back there to see Dr. Bernard T. Porton. And I was coming because I was plagued with this incredible medical problem. I had a terrible back. I didn't just have pain in my back. I had debilitating pain in my back. I was in Vietnam, out in this most remote outpost along the Cambodian border. And one day I had a spasm go up my back. I can still see the blue lights that came on my eyes when the pain hit my brain. Fell to the floor, unable to move for hours. Finally, someone came and found me. I know what it's like to be a dead Viking warrior carried out on his shield, because they put me on a door and carried me out to a helicopter. And I can also tell you exactly how wide a UH-1 helicopter is. It's not wide enough to keep your head and your toes inside the helicopter. And all the way from the border to Saigon to be taken to the hospital, my toes were sticking out the door on that. They got me there, and they couldn't do anything for me. They did x-rays, they brought in specialists, and finally they just said, pick up your door and go. And by then I could kind of limp out, and I went to see chiropractors. They had this new center. They put me on a table that pulled my legs in one direction and my shoulders in another. I went down these back alleys in the Chinatown, going to the acupuncturists and sticking needles in my back. No matter what, nothing worked. And I felt I was sort of consigned for the rest of my life to walk around like this. Because that's how I was when I walked into Dr. T. Porton's office. And I only went there because I was working for Governor Ray at the time, and wife Willie, Dave Rader, you may remember wife. I didn't come to work. He thought I was a, federal government slacker, Dean. That's, why doesn't this guy show up? The federal government loaned him to us. And I said, it's my back. And he said, well, you got to go up to the osteopathic college. They can do great things. I said, I've tried everything. Don't give me that. And finally, just to get him off my back and say I tried everything, I went and I walked in. And here's this tall gentleman in his white coat, chain smoking. I know he wouldn't get away with that these days. And I'm sitting in the chair like this, and he's talking and asking about this and where you been. And I said, I'm thinking to myself, let me get this over with so I can go home and lay on the floor and moan. And finally, he puts me up on the table and grabs hold of my shoulders on one side and my knees on the other, and snaps it like that. I hear something crack. I get off the table. I'm standing like this. And he said, why are you standing like that? I said, because I have to. And he said, no, you don't. Straighten up. And I went like this. The pain was gone. The miracle of Grand Avenue. He had done what nobody else could do. He had given me instant relief. He had, through his medical training here, given me a future where I could live a fairly normal life. Now, my life as a diplomat, I got all sorts of stories, and I can tell you about being and stuff at the White House, being overseas, being in negotiations. But I also have got a lot of medical experiences. So let me tell you how you become an American diplomat. You'll like this, I promise. First, you have to take a written test. And maybe 15 or 16,000 people take it, and maybe 1,000 pass. Then you have to do an interview. You sit across the table from 3 professionals, and they grill you back and forth. And if you pass that, then you have a security exam. And security exams in those days, they were a lot like going to the proctologist and other things. There was a lot of checking a lot of places. And I made it through all of that, and then they called me in and they said, you failed your medical. I said, what? Yeah, we found some albumin in your urine. So we got to check because we got to be perfect to go overseas. And they sent me to Georgetown University. And I go to one of the 2 or 3 leading urologists in America. He had more diplomas, in his office from all these distinguished places. And he put me through batteries of tests. Most of you don't know what the exaggerated lardontic position is, but you have to sort of stand like this against a wall for a half hour, and then you collect an unseemly volume of specimens and deliver them all. And finally, he writes this big report and said, well, can't really find anything really very much wrong with Mr. Quinn. Certainly nothing that'll keep him out of the Army. It was 1968 in the draft there. But, it might be a harbinger of things to come. And so I go back to the State Department. They said, oh, we're sorry. You got to be perfect. You're out. All my dreams of being a diplomat, of going to Paris or London, sitting and sipping aperitifs and diplomatic soirees, all vanishing before my eyes. I went to West Virginia to visit my uncle, and he said, well, what are you going to do? And I told him all this story, and he took me down to the office building where he worked, downtown Huntington, West Virginia, and he took me up to the 7th floor. That was about the top floor of any building in Huntington. And he took me into this one doctor office. And he was the town urologist. And he brings me in, one doctor, one nurse, basic things. Says, tell him your trouble. So I told my problem to the doctor. He said, give me a specimen. So I gave him a specimen. Put it in a test tube, put it in a centrifuge, spun it around a few times. I don't think it ever got up to full speed. He takes it out. I swear, this is a true story, I swear. He holds it up to the light like this, and he says, it looks clear to me. Now, one of the lessons of the medical profession is that if you go to all the conventions and you hang out afterwards and network, you can be elected president-elect of the American Urological Society, as this guy was. And so he writes this letter from the office of the president-elect of the American Urological Society. I've examined Kenneth Quinn, and he's free and clear of any problems. It's like 2 paragraphs. I show up at the State Department. I hand it in to the clerk. He says, oh, I guess you're in, and puts it on top of the big report from the leading urologist in America. That's how I got to become a diplomat. Now, what do? They sent me off to the Mekong Delta, and I'm walking around in rice paddies and out in military situations and being shot at and blown up. But finally, I get an assignment to Vienna, Austria. And I show up in November in Vienna, Austria. Here it is, the churches, all the splendid ballrooms. And then I start developing something on my feet. And I'm getting this rash. It kind of looks like athlete's foot. And it starts spreading, and it's working its way up both my legs. And they're all raw and rash. And finally, the embassy nurse, American embassy nurse, takes me into this Viennese hospital on a Saturday morning. And I talked to this doctor, very competent doctor. He said, here's your problem. You've got a fungus infection, and on top of that, you got a bacteria infection. So we've got to put you in the hospital. We're going to fill you with massive doses of antibiotics. We're going to kill that bacteria. Then we're going to treat the fungus. You'll be fine. Okay? And so they put me in the hospital. So now here's something you have to know about medicine, about life in Austria, about business in Austria. It's 5.5 days, and at noon on Saturday, everybody goes home. Everything closes. Grocery stores, clothing stores, restaurants, everything closes, including the hospital. So they leave a couple of people. They have a couple of Filipino nurses, and they had a young Austrian medical resident who didn't really speak any English. They're all there, and they put me in my room. So it's about 12:15, so everybody else is gone, and they hook me up to penicillin in my vein. And the drip's going, and the American nurse just comes back one time. And she looks her head in and said, oh, I'll be back on Monday now. You doing okay? And I said, yeah. And she turns and starts to leave, and she's going out the door. And I said, hey, is your arm supposed to feel cold? And all of a sudden, if you've ever seen anybody or experienced anaphylactic shock, if you haven't, let me explain what happens. Your body goes crazy. All of your systems, your breathing, your heart, your respiration, everything goes out of control. It starts, it stops. And my body was flailing back and forth. It looked like The Exorcist. I'm up and down. I have the premonition of death, that I'd never see my wife and children again. I start crying in all of this. The nurses are all screaming. They rip it out of my arm. Somebody thinks to inject me with cortisone. And finally, it offsets it, and I start to calm down. And the American nurse comes there, and she's holding my hand. She said, I thought we were going to lose you. I thought you were gone. And I said, let me tell you what kept me, what gave me the strength to hang on. This is a true story, I promise. And I had this vision of my wife and my children, my wife dressed in black, standing in the lobby of the State Department, where there are these huge black marble plaques on which are inscribed in gold the name of every American diplomat who has lost his or her name abroad in service of their country, with the date and the cause. 1775, lost at sea. 1776, Barbary pirates. World War II, blown up in bombs and that. And they're all there in the Secretary of State, and they unveil my name. And they look at it, and it says, Kenneth Quinn, Vienna, athlete's foot. I said, I can't let that happen. And so I hung on. I could tell you stories. I've had sarcoid. I don't know if you ever heard of sarcoid. I've had hepatitis E. How many people have had hepatitis E? I've had vasovagal reactions where I collapsed at my desk and the Post-it notes were falling down on my head. But let me tell you the reason I tell you the stories. They're a little amusing. But you go back and look through all of those stories. The one common thread in all of it, was there was somebody in there who did something a little extra, a little step, something they didn't really have to do, to come back and check on me, to arrange my appointment with Dr. T. Porton, to be there and see me in West Virginia, and that changed my life, that I remember to this day. You look back in the history of medicine, how it's evolved. I look at agriculture, food and medicine. Hippocrates. I got this beautiful building. I hope you all come down and see the Hall of Laureates. But one of the names up there among the great figures of food is Hippocrates. Because what did he say? Let food be your medicine. We're all with it now about nutrition and health and the relationship. He's a guy who had it right several thousand years ago. But that's, and it's meant, you look at the history of the evolution of American science and the development of your field. And basically it comes down to two things. One is that people have always been praying when they're sick and always desperately turning to another human being to help them. And the second part is, from Hippocrates to now, to this great institution, all of the doctors and medical professionals and research scientists and faculty have all built and grown and enhanced and preserved and advanced all the medical knowledge so that today we have the great medical science. Amazing what human beings have. But the people who come to see you or with whom you deal, whether it's in administration or testing them, it's always about they're sick, they need help, they're praying for some kind of help. And you who have learned all this knowledge and now certified as it, you have the opportunity to help them and to do that little bit more. So when you get to you're like me, and you're going to look back on your career and judge about what your life was about, my hope is that you'll be able to look back and say that I did those things. That there's somebody who maybe they won't even know my name, what I did, but will know they should be grateful to me because I did that little extra that changed the course of their life. So congratulations. Good luck on your career, and thank you for allowing me to be here today to speak to you.
Thank you, Ambassador Quinn. The Dean of the College of Health Sciences and the Dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine will now present their graduates prior to the awarding of the degrees. I am pleased to introduce Dr. Jody Cahalan, Dean of the College of Health Sciences.
Will the graduates from the Public Health and the Healthcare Administration programs of the College of Health Sciences please stand? President Franklin, members of the Board of Trustees, and honored guests, on behalf of the faculty, I present to you the 2013 summer graduates of the College of Health Sciences. The members of the faculty of the College of Health Sciences have evaluated the candidates and endorsed these students as worthy of having the degree Master of Healthcare Administration and Master of Public Health conferred on them. It is with great pride that I present the summer class of 2013 of the College of Health Sciences. You may be seated.
Will the graduates from the Anatomy and Biomedical Sciences programs of the College of Osteopathic Medicine please stand? President Franklin, members of the Board of Trustees, honored guests, on behalf of the faculty, I present to you the 2013 summer graduates from the College of Osteopathic Medicine. The members of the faculty of the College of Osteopathic Medicine have evaluated these candidates and endorsed them as worthy of having the degree of Master of Science in Anatomy and Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences conferred upon them. President Franklin, it is with great pride that I present the summer class of 2013 of the College of Osteopathic Medicine.
I am pleased to receive these candidates by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of this university and by the state of Iowa. I do hereby confer upon you the degree for which you have been endorsed, with all of the honors, rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining to this degree, of which your diploma will be a witness forever. You are hereby recognized as graduates of Des Moines University. Congratulations. At this time, our Provost, Karen McLean, will come forward.
We will now recognize the degree recipients individually. The program director will introduce each graduate and coordinate the hooding ritual to signify the attainment of a significant academic milestone. I am pleased to introduce Dr. Carla Stebbins, Program Director for the Healthcare Administration Program, who will direct the recognition ceremony for the graduates in the Healthcare Administration Program.
Good afternoon. My name is Carla. I direct that program. I'm going to introduce each of the 4 MHA students that are graduating today. And then I'm also going to introduce their advisor. The advisor is going to come up and help me hood them so we don't take their hats off. That's the goal. So anyhow, our first student is Electra Disbro. You can come up, and her advisor, Professor Fritz Jordan. Electra's from Waukee, Iowa. She graduated with a major in biology and a minor in chemistry from Grandview University here in Des Moines. Her capstone paper was on compliance education for physicians, and she is currently looking for a position in healthcare compliance.
Our next student is Brittany Lorenz. Did I get it right? Okay, good. And Brittany will be joined by her advisor, Dr. Richard Beloff. Brittany is from Fremont, Iowa. She did her undergraduate work at Indian Hills Community College and Kaplan University. Her capstone paper was on advanced directives integration into an accountable care organization. Currently, Brittany is an RN health coach with Mercy Medical Center and is applying for administrative fellowships. Okay, next is Terry Michelle Reef, sorry about that. Terry's advisor is me, so Dr. Beloff's going to stay and help me hood her. Terry is from West Des Moines, Iowa. Her undergraduate work was done at the University of South Dakota. Terry's capstone project was looking at high retention rates in the phlebotomy staff. She was working to resolve that. Right now, Terry is with Mercy Medical Center. She was with their lab and now is the director of the lab for the last year. So. And finally is Jessica L. Sleeth. And Dr. Beloff is also going to join me as Terry is my advisee. Terry is from Des Moines, Iowa, and her undergraduate work was done at Allen College of Nursing in the Waterloo area. Her capstone project was developing a community benefit report for Wright Medical Center in Clarion, Iowa. Jessica is a registered nurse and currently employed here at Des Moines University's clinic. She's the practice manager of the OMM department. Congratulations.
It is now my pleasure to welcome Dr. Mary Mincer-Hansen to the podium. Dr. Hansen is Program Director of the Public Health Program, and she will direct the recognition ceremony for the graduates in the Master of Public Health Program. Dr. Hansen will hood the graduates with the assistance of their faculty advisor.
Thank you, Dr. McLean. I'd first of all like to say a personal note of congratulations. Faculty and all of us get a little teary-eyed to be able to see you up here. Congratulations. Also to congratulate the family members, because I know that behind the hard work that you did were a lot of family members who helped you. So personal congratulations. The first one that I would like to call up is Caitlin Suganaka, and I would like her advisor, Dr. Galetta, to come up as well. Caitlin is from Grinnell, Iowa, and her undergraduate institution was St. Olaf. Her capstone was on healthcare access for immigrants and refugees in Iowa, a provider perspective. She currently works at the Iowa Department of Public Health in the Bureau of Family Health as the State Home Visitation and Quality Assurance Program Manager. Her professional goals include global health. I've had the joy of working with Caitlin in global health and know that she will be giving a lot back to the world, doing a world of good. Next, we have Angie Doyle-Scar, and if her advisor, Dr. Beverly, could come up, please. You get to come too, Angie. Angie's hometown is Des Moines. Her undergraduate institution was Upper Iowa. Her capstone topic was the importance of public health professionals in the policymaking process. She is interested in healthcare policy. She's currently employed as coordinator of the Office of Healthcare Transformation at the Iowa Department of Public Health. And her goal is to actively participate in the public policy arena to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to live a healthy life. If you'll stay up, I think the next one. Yes. Next, we have Syra Clark. If she could please come up. Syra may win the award for the family who has come the farthest and the most. I believe you have 8 family members here, quite a few. Syra's hometown is Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Her undergraduate institution was the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. Her capstone was on the cultural competence of healthcare providers and racial ethnic health disparities. Her employment position or goal, which is a wonderful goal, she's applying for PhD programs in health education. Next, we have Megan Knox, and if her advisor, Dr. Duffy, could come up as well, please. Megan's hometown is East Grand Forks, Minnesota. Her undergraduate institution was Concordia College. Her capstone title was Knowledge, Attitudes, and Practices of Rural Bangladesh Regarding Soil-Transmitted Helminths. Her employment goal is global public health research and working in health and development. I also have talked with Megan a lot about her global health work. She's got a great passion for it. So, congratulations. And the last, but certainly not least, MPH graduate is Chelsea Schmalar. If her advisor, Dr. Reimer, could come up, please, as well. Chelsea's hometown is New Lothrop, Michigan. Her undergraduate institution was Saginaw Valley State University. Her capstone project was on the effect of parental knowledge, perceptions, and attitudes on adolescent male HPV rates in and I'm sorry, I'm going to really do this, Cuyahoga County? Cuyahoga County. They help us pronounce names, but they really don't help us pronounce counties. So, sorry about that. Her professional interest is National Public Health Accreditation, Quality Improvement, and Performance Management. She is currently Quality and Performance Manager at the Keck County Health Department in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Her goal is to become a health officer at a local health department. We need those desperately. And teach public health courses to university students. We need those too. Congratulations. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to welcome Dr. Donald Matz to the podium. Dr. Matz is the chair of the Department of Anatomy, and he will recognize the graduates in the Masters of Science in Anatomy program.
On behalf of the anatomy faculty, congratulations, Garrett. Garrett Crosby, will you please come forward? Garrett Crosby comes to us from Brandon, South Dakota, where he actually earned his bachelor's degree at South Dakota State University. His goal is to become a college professor and to pursue his interest in teaching. So congratulations.
And now, it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Jeffrey Gray to the podium. Dr. Gray is the director of the Biomedical Sciences Program and Vice President for Research. He will recognize graduates in the Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences program.
I have invited Dr. Henry and Dr. Wilson up here to assist me in the hooding of the graduates. We have 3 graduates from the Masters in Science in Biomedical Sciences program. The first graduate, Alan Kemp, I'd like to welcome to the stage. Alan joined us from St. Louis, Missouri, and graduated from St. Louis University with his undergraduate bachelor's degree, and he worked on the CMY2, BLA CMY2 multiple drug-resistant plasmid and Salmonella typhimurium for his thesis. Next, I would like to welcome Jelaine Mulvey to the stage. Jelaine joins us from Altoona, Iowa, and for her thesis, Jelaine worked on exercise-induced cardiomyopathies in rats and connexin 43 phosphorylation. Finally, I'd like to welcome Erica Thomas to the stage. Erica joins us from Illinois with her undergraduate degree from Rockford College, and Erica's thesis was on connexin 43 phosphorylation and exercise-induced cardiomyopathy in rats also.
To the graduates, this day is a special day of celebration, achievement, and challenge. It is a day when we acknowledge your achievement as a body of knowledge and a set of special skills with which you can now go forth to render special service to improve the health care, and health sciences education of our state, our nation, and the world. A favorite quote of mine is, "Know that you will make your living by what you get, but you will make a life by what you give." Go and serve. Commit to your part in fulfilling our noble mission in the delivery of care and the advancement of knowledge and in strengthening our system of health care. Reach far, dream colossal dreams, set audacious goals, be bold in leadership, and in the name of service to mankind, be possessed of an outrageous ambition to make things better. That is your legacy. The service that you give is partial payment on the investments made by others in you. I therefore charge you to relentlessly pursue knowledge, seek wisdom, give service, and demand excellence throughout your lifetime. I charge you to fulfill the promise of being health professionals committed first to service for our nation's rural and underserved communities, with a dedication to prevention, wellness, and the delivery of compassionate, patient-centered care. I charge you to maintain respect for others and to cherish those who have been your greatest champions. And remember, professional integrity is essential to your success as a healthcare professional. So I charge you to also embrace the values of honesty, accountability, collaboration, and inclusiveness as the basic tenets of integrity. I charge you to be honorable and supportive of alumni of Des Moines University. See this as an imperative to invest in the next generation of healthcare professionals. I charge you to lead, to inspire, and to serve, and be always assured of our enormous pride in you. Congratulations, dream big, and focus your life on doing a world of good. I now am pleased to ask the Grand Marshal to step to the podium for the final pronouncement of this ceremony.
These proceedings are now officially concluded. Family members and friends are invited to greet the graduates, faculty, and university staff and administrators in the back of the Medical Education Center, where our commencement reception will follow. Please remain seated until all the participants have exited. Thank you.